Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Real Talk with America's Supermom. I'm excited about my next guest. I have Andrea here with me, and we actually got connected. I believe it was through LinkedIn. We had a great Zoom call, and I'm excited to finally reconnect so that we can have this conversation today. But before we get into that, I would love the honors of you introducing yourself, Andrea, before we get into our conversation.
Thank you so much. You are indeed a super mom, LaChelle. Thank you so much for your invitation. It's such an honor and a privilege. And yeah, I'm this is my biggest joy, to connect with people, to bring solutions to their problems, to add value, and just make this world a better world overall.
I love
And yeah, so I consider myself first of all a mom, a wife, and of course I have faith, and I'm
mhm,
very grateful for living in this country, in this free country, right, of
mhm,
free enterprise, thanks to our veterans. And I'm very, very grateful because I migrated from Europe, and probably you already sense an accent here. I came from Romania, and that was 21 years ago.
mhm,
And I had a big dream. I had a big dream since I was 8 years old. I wanted to travel the world to understand people better, to understand what makes them tick, right? What is the meaning of life, and most more likely, what is the purpose and meaning of my life? So I
mm,
figured if I travel the world, I will discover myself better, and I will understand myself better, and then I will understand what people need the most, why they do what they do, why they think how they think, what
mhm,
makes them do and say and act in a certain way, and that will help me help them better. So I always had
mm,
this passion of giving, of helping people have a better life. And I just, in the beginning, I was not very confident, so I didn't think I had enough to offer, but the life experiences and prayers always get answered, so I
mhm,
got a chance to meet my amazing coaches and mentors in business over 6 years ago. And that's how I started this journey of helping ambitious and entrepreneurial minded people that want to create a income, like a external income. It maybe they already have a full-time job or a small business, but they are looking for an exit strategy. So I'm
mhm,
always there to find out how I can add value to them and help them. And if I can't help them, I'm sure that I connect them with the right person that can help them. So yeah.
I love that, and I love, so you've been here for 21 years. So tell us about that journey of being somewhere else where you did not grow up. Did you have a language barrier? Did you already speak English? I mean, I have a million questions about that in that adjustment, what that was like.
Oh yeah, I can't complain. I can say it was hard. I was
Mhm,
very self-motivated, and I now when I look back, I realize I had to work maybe twice as hard as other people that were born here, and they had the privilege of speaking the language fluently, or
mhm,
growing in a certain environment with a certain mindset and more privileges overall. But
mhm,
me, I grew up in communism time until
mm,
I was 16, I believe. And
mhm,
then there was a big revolution in my country. And um, anyway, so I had like I said, I had this passion of traveling the world since I was 8 years old, but
mhm,
because I couldn't leave the country during that time, I actually, thanks to my dad and his connections, I was able to leave the country just before I turned 13. And I got a
Mm,
chance to see Germany, and I saw a different world. Like people had more freedom, more options, more material stuff that I didn't have access to. They were able to travel and choose their
mm.
how to live their life in a different way, and we didn't have that freedom. So that really replanted the seed in my head that this is it. It was a confirmation that one day I'm gonna leave, and I'm never gonna stop traveling.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's amazing. And, I think we get away from some of our childhood dreams. We just bury them or we just think it was crazy. So I love how you still go back to that. And that is, a source of your drive and determination. So I love that. I love also what you said about being solution oriented. And I think that's key too, because in a world that we're in now where we talk about a lot of things that are not going right, whether it's the economy or, we've got this global pandemic that is still kind of around at some point. You've got wars and rumors of war. So when you think about being solution oriented, what are some things that you do in your routine or just your habits that help you to stay that way? Because I think it's somewhat of someone being a little odd man out, so to speak, because not everybody thinks that way about the solutions, and having that perspective. So how do you protect that?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. That's a great question. For sure, first of all, I don't believe in failure.
Mhm.
I learned that in life, people we experience things, and we are never good from the very beginning at anything. Like I remember how terrified I was when I first started learning how to drive a car. I'm like, and I learned a stick shift, and I'm like, how
Right.
in the world can I keep my eyes in front of me and remember how to move my right hand and coordinate with my feet, both feet I
Yes.
had to use with the clutch and the acceleration. So I'm like, this is the most difficult thing in the world. And then now it's almost like a meditation. It's such a relaxing thing. Every time I
Mhm.
drive, that's the time when I let my uh, mind wander, and I think, and I of course I stay focused on the road.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we've
I,
got a lot of things we do when we drive now, from putting on makeup to eating, on the phone,
you
texting. I
name
mean,
it.
it's crazy. Yeah.
I even see people reading textbooks.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy. But
Mhm.
yes, absolutely. Driving, it's such a joy, and it's a form of relaxation for me. So it's so funny, like starting being so stressed out and thinking this is
Mhm.
impossible, and now I find so much joy. And so everything we do in life, we have to remember, the more we practice, the better we become. So there is no
Mhm.
failure. Failure is only when we quit,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a trial journey, and yeah, we need to remember, even in relationships, it takes two to tango, right? So
Mhm.
mm, sometimes if I have an argument with my husband, yeah, he reminds me that, hey, because I said, can we stop arguing? And he reminds me, well, it takes two to argue.
Right.
I'm like,
So
that's so
true.
true.
So true.
you
I
know
love that. But, I love what you said about we're just not good at anything when we first try it. And, that is really a profound, simple truth. But I think for a lot of people, we think, well, I'm not good at whatever. So it's not even worth trying.
Mm-mm.
They decide that they want to have a business and they see someone, or maybe they want to be a coach and they see a coach who's already doing it. So they compare themselves to this person who has got all that experience and has had all that practice. and then they think there's no sense even getting started. So, have you had that kind of mindset about understanding that in everything you do, or was it just in certain things you had to grow, or what would be your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the first time in my life when I really caught myself wondering why I'm not fearful, it was when I was graduating my 12th grade in high school. We call it in Romania baccalaureate.
Mhm.
So I was taking my exam and I looked around and everybody was so stressed and they were acting in different ways to, they were stressed. Some were crying, some were shaking, some were reading from their notes last minute. And
Mm,
I was so relaxed and I was just looking around. I'm like, am I missing something? So my first impression was something is wrong with me. Like I don't put enough emphasis on
mm,
this exam or what is it? But then I'm like, what's the worst thing that can happen if I don't
mhm,
pass? What's the worst thing? Is somebody gonna chop my head off? No. Do I have the chance to retake this exam? Yes, for sure
mhm,
I will. Is it gonna be embarrassing that if I fail and people are gonna say, oh wow, you didn't take it the first time. Oh, maybe yes, maybe no. It's all about how we perceive it. But I'm
mhm,
like, in the end, true friends, they're never gonna embarrass you. And second of all, if people criticize us anyway, if we're doing something good or bad or in between, it's their judgment. They have to deal with it. So I don't
mhm.
want to make other people's problems my problems, right?
I
So
love that. I mean, and the thing about it that is profound for me hearing this, because, this is like high school age, the fact that you had the knowledge or self-awareness to ask yourself the questions, because that has been a game changer for me after a 13-year journey with depression, was that I was busy telling myself stuff, but I never really asked questions like, how can you do this better, or why are you feeling this way,
right.
whatever it looked like, so that I can begin to engage in some kind of change of the behavior rather than feeling bad about myself and what I was doing. So, for somebody who's in that space, let's say it was one of those students that were afraid of that test, what advice would you give them today as a baby step to kind of get going in the direction of having that self-awareness?
Yeah, it would be the same advice I would give to my 9-year-old son. I would tell him, don't be afraid. Nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We are all learning from personal experiences and mistakes. And sometimes something we call a mistake can turn into something amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
things sometimes happen for a reason, and sometimes the reason is that you just make dumb decisions. But most of the time, it's to teach us something, to make us be better people, to
Mm-hmm.
teach us to get stronger, more confident, and more
Mm-hmm.
experienced. So it's all good.
I love
And
it.
yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think that would be the advice I give myself, I would give to anyone.
Yeah. Now, and so I cannot believe we're almost out of time, but my next question is, you mentioned that you had this dream when you were 8, and fast forward to where you are now, you're traveling and doing these things. So, for people who remember a dream that they had very young and that it took time for that dream to manifest, because like if we want to start a business, you hear a lot of stuff like, come over here, we're going to make you 6 figures in 30 days or 3 months or whatever. So when you have a dream that takes a long time to come to pass, so to speak, what is some advice that you would give people to keep that dream alive and to not give up and lose hope?
Wow, that's a great question. I love it. So full of passion and meaningful.
Mhm.
That um reminds me also of the trilogy memoir that I wrote. Oh, you can't see it. It's
Mhm.
blurry. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Anyway, I have so I have 3 books here. It's a trilogy memoir that I launched on Amazon during COVID time, and it's
Mhm.
called Following a Dream. If anybody is interested, so it's a 3 series book from my trilogy memoir, and if they just type in my name, Andrea
Mhm.
Glasser, they
Mhm.
will find all 3. So the main title is Following a Dream.
Mhm.
And it's the journey from me being the 8-year-old and all the experiences and the that I accumulated and the lessons, and that dream never died. So in
Mm.
my sleep, I would dream the same dream when I was also awake. So that dream
Wow.
never died. So that's how I knew that that's my part of my purpose in life. It has to do,
Mm.
I couldn't put a finger on it. I couldn't name it. I couldn't categorize, but I knew that's my dream. So sometimes if people wonder, is this my purpose? Is this, should I give up on this silly dream? Because everybody around me tells me, stop dreaming and come back to reality. Well, if no matter where you are, in daytime, nighttime, driving,
Mhm.
watching TV, whatever you're doing, if your mind keeps drifting towards this one thing that keeps coming back to you, that's for sure. You don't have to give up on it, because that's a
Mhm.
God-given dream that it was put inside you for a reason. That's part of your purpose.
I love
So
it.
I think that, yeah, if you wonder if that's what you should keep following, no matter how long it takes and how hard it is. But if it keeps coming back to you, don't give up. That's what
I
you're
love
meant to do.
Yeah, I love that. I was in a room uh a couple of days ago on a Clubhouse, and a gentleman shared a testimony about his ex-wife. The topic was being all in, being committed to something. And she had 11 surgeries for being for infertility. And after that 11th surgery, they had a baby, a son. And so, it's just about, you think about it. If you have a dream, I know like after 4 or 5, people are like, look, you need to give up. This is not happening.
Right.
I mean, 11, I don't even know if I would be that friend who would continue to encourage that person. I would be like, this just seems extreme, but so I love what you said, that it's all about you and your purpose. So what are some things that just help you in general, whether it's routines, um, books that you read, or whatever that helps nurture that? Because I think, if you're a trailblazer, seeing some things for yourself that other people don't see, and it's taking some time for that to come to pass, you know, what are some things that give you that ability to persevere, in spite of the results that seem like they're not happening?
Right. So first of all, y- make up your mind.
Mhm.
Stop thinking, what if, and stop looking
Mhm.
for the next shiniest thing. Stick to your dream, stick to what you want to accomplish, and
Mhm.
get committed and build a consistency, build a routine. Even if it's boring, believe me, a success doesn't just come and knocks on your door and ta-da, I'm here. It takes
Mhm.
uh, a routine. It takes discipline that sometimes it's so boring and frustrating, and most of the time takes longer than we anticipate, but it's so worth
Mhm.
it in the end.
Mhm.
So yeah, build that consistency, be committed. Don't keep changing your mind. Don't listen to people that are not supporting you. Let
Mhm.
them talk, because when you succeed, they're gonna call you lucky. So keep going, believe in yourself,
Mhm.
and definitely read a lot, read everything that you couldn't read when you were in school, because most people,
Mm,
you know, kids don't like school because they are forced to read books that they don't like. But when
mm,
you let them choose what they want to study or read or discover, they are so curious, they are so full of passion. So read everything that you want to improve in your life. It's, you know, I
mhm,
believe that we have like 7 different pies in our life. It's
mhm,
you know, our financial, our emotional, spiritual, social, environmental, physical, emotional. Did I say all of them? So yeah,
I
I
know
don't.
we can get tongue tied with that, but
But
yeah, I
definitely,
get you.
yeah. So whatever it's the most urgent and important for you to improve in order to help you
Mhm,
get on that mountaintop, whatever your dream
mhm,
is, focus on that and improve that skill, or it's either a soft skill or hard skill or whatever it is.
mhm,
Improve your confidence, improve anything you need. So read books, listen to positive audios, meditate. Oh, I can't emphasize how important it is to meditate, to
mhm,
reconnect with yourself over and over again. Because if you run fast towards something, but you're not on the right path, then you're just wasting your time and energy and
mhm,
sometimes money. And yeah, it's yeah. And speaking of which, time you can never buy back. You know, if you
mhm,
lose a couple $100 or $1,000, you can always go back to work and make it back. But time never comes back. So stop wasting time. Have that source,
mhm,
how you say, sense of urgency, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
re- build a dream board, do something, whatever you
mhm,
find, something that works for you, and uh, something that you can visualize, and you can see every day in front of you. And when you meditate, you can see it with your closed eyes, you can see it in your mind, like exactly
mhm.
where you are when you are where you want to be. So find out where you are today, where you want to be, and get on that track and don't look back.
I
And
love that.
yeah, it's simple but not easy.
I love that. You know, that's what I listen to Jim Rohn, and he says that the things that help you to be successful are simple, but with that simplicity, they're simple to do, but they're also simple not to do. So the
Exactly.
choice is yours. So I love that. I mean, that was a quick master class. I was writing all those notes down. That was good stuff. So I hope everybody was paying attention. You know, and I love these conversations because you don't really realize what is so simple and profound to other people until you get a chance to focus. You know, I think we have 1,000 different conversations and topics that we can talk about. But when you focus in on some things, you know, just like you said in the beginning, you know, adding value, being a solution oriented person, that it takes a lot because we could talk about the weather, we could talk about the news, we could talk about politics, and you know, what really is that going to do for us? You know, it's about the ideas and nurturing those conversations. So I love that. So, what is the best way for everybody to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I definitely can be found on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
People can find me there, and I will post the link to make sure everybody has access to it.
Hmm.
Where else? My email address is andrea dot
Hmm.
zingl
Hmm.
at gmail.com. And where else? They can find me, like I said, on Amazon. They type in my name, they find my books, and I think I left some information there how I can be found on social media.
Absolutely. And so, what final thoughts would you like to leave everybody with today? Because this has just been a dynamic conversation. I'm so glad we got a chance to get together today.
Thank you. I would like to say anyone who wants to achieve their dream, I advise them from all my heart, find a good mentor. It
Mm,
depends what you want to achieve in life. Don't fool yourself that you can get on a fence by yourself. Somebody needs to put you there. And why waste your I don't know, 40, 50 years of your life to reinvent the wheel and figure out what's working and what's not? Just get a mentor that works for you. Make sure that their words matches their actions. You build trust
mhm,
and friendship with them. You make sure you take full advantage of their time. Don't take it for granted, and find a mentor to help you get there and keep you accountable, right? And
mhm,
then everything you want to achieve, I'm such a believer in tracking everything. Track it.
mhm,
Track the time you spend on building your business or whatever your dream is. Track the time you spend on improving yourself to get where you want to get. Everything you do towards that dream, track everything, because that's how your mentor will be able to help you, and they will know right away why it's taking so long or why you're going the wrong way, because they can see it if you track it. So
mhm.
yeah, that's
I
what I
love
want.
it.
And just don't give up. Don't give up.
I love that. I mean, I love the thing also about words matching their actions. I mean, there's so many nuggets that you have shared, and I have really enjoyed this conversation. And I think it definitely is, some nuggets that people can really just meditate on. When we think about some of the things that we hear, it takes time to really figure out, how does this apply in my business, or how does this apply with my relationships, or with my children, or my personal life. So I think it's important to kind of pause and really process some of the things that we hear, because it really can help us on our journey. So I really, really appreciate you being here today, and thank you so much for sharing all your insights.
I'm very, very appreciative, and thank you. Love you so much, and can't wait to talk to you again very soon.
And me too. I look forward to it. And we want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to have this conversation with us. And if something that was said resonated with you, one, reach out to Andrea. As you can see, she's so easy to talk to. And two, share the video. Share it with a friend so it could be some great opportunity for you to talk about some of the things that we discussed that you might want to implement in order for you to get up on that fence and start making a greater impact in the world. So, we thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye bye.